In this video, you'll learn the very best ways to master bar chords on guitar. The dreaded bar chord can be daunting for many students of this fine instrument, and I'm sure you can relate. Hi, this is Simon Candy from Acoustic Guitar Lessons Online.net, and in this lesson, I sit down with beginner guitar specialist Maurice to demonstrate and discuss how to master bar chords so you can have them under the fingers ready to go in any song you wish to play. When it comes to bar chords, there is the hard, frustrating way to go about it that leaves you just wanting to avoid bar chords altogether, and there is the much easier step-by-step process that guarantees you'll get these things under your fingers ready to go in the songs you want to play. Join myself and Maurice as we take you through several very important strategies for mastering bar chords. These include the issue of tension and what to do about excess tension, which is very common when first playing bar chords, and how to relax when you play them so that it's not so hard to sound the notes. We also look at a very effective strategy, the chord push-up strategy, that gets all the fingers of your fretting hand working together in an efficient fashion at the same time. And we'll also look at the exact order to go through when mastering bar chords. There is an order. If you go the wrong way about it, you can make it a lot harder for yourself. Watch until the end of the video for a very special ebook audio I've created for you on how to make the chord progressions you play on your guitar sound amazing. So let's get into it. We don't want to take, years to play smooth sounding bar chords. And again, it's not just, well, just keep practicing them. There's methods and strategies. So what are some of the ways you teach bar chords?
Bar chords are technically just brand new. They're totally new. They're like you're starting all over again. You're going to feel like a total beginner. I approach them very slowly because I learned, just like you, and as you just said, the hard way. If you go through and learn them the hard way, you will eventually either have to spend a huge amount of time to overcome that, and possibly injure yourself, which I did, or you could learn the right way the first time. So what I do is I start by tackling a single bar chord shape, single idea, because if you look at bar chords in general, there's only really two main shapes, I don't bother with the second, a very difficult one, until they actually master the first kind of shape, which would be the E shape. So what I do is I get people to, first of all, learn to do, I start with F sharp minor. It's a fairly popular bar chord that you can use. And what I do is I get people to start with an E chord. And instead of using fingers 1, 2, and 3 to do an E chord, right? I get them to use fingers 2, 3, and 4 to do the E chord. And what that does is it allows them to mimic a bar chord.
Yep.
Yeah, those three things, exactly. So then I get them to move 2 frets up. That's it. That's all you do. You just slide it up. Notice you did not have to move anything, did not have to lift anything. Actually, I start with F sharp, not F sharp minor. Once I get them to do this, then we lift the finger. But the point is, that's it. And what I want you to do is, you can actually strum these if you want. It doesn't sound horrible. It doesn't sound bad. It's actually not too bad. So,
Yeah,
and just the first thing is to just get comfortable with that. And if I can get people to get comfortable with that, then what I do is I get them to do the move over. And in this case, I get them to just lay their bar finger down. That's it. Just lay your bar finger down. And at this point, I would tell them not to use any pressure whatsoever. Zero, none. And I mean none. I mean, just touch the strings. And the reason for that is I've learned through my own bad experiences and through, other people who come to me who learned the wrong way, that if you reinforce the wrong position, that sticks for life. And all your bar chords are going to be affected because it's pretty much the same shape. So if you can get it right the first time, right now, when you first learn it, then it's going to be the same effect, but for good. So I get people to just get comfortable putting the bar down, not trying to strum it, nothing like that, and just find a place where it starts to become comfortable. And then I get them to go back to the E, and I get them to come back and put the finger down. And what happens is in no time, people start feeling comfortable. Once they feel comfortable, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just doesn't feel awkward anymore and starting to feel comfortable. What I get them to do is, and you already mentioned that in a couple minutes ago, I get them to do push-ups. And once they feel comfortable, so they move over, they're at that chord location, it feels good, they're comfortable. I get them to push down with all the fingers, including the bar finger, not hard, just push down enough to put pressure down on the strings, hold it for a second and let go. And you can do 5 of those, 10 of those. The main point here is that's going to reinforce that shape, that real comfortable, nice, relaxed bar chord. And if it's not relaxed, you're doing it wrong. That's the goal here. Because if that, and that was my problem, and I'm sure that's how you felt when you first learned them. You're just muscling the thing to death. And I could never make it sound good for more than maybe the first couple of bar chords, and then after that it fell apart because the strings were sinking into my skin, right? Because I was pushing too hard, and the harder you push, the more it sinks in. So it's just going to make it worse. You'd be amazed how a light touch, even though it's not super clear, it actually sounds quite nice compared to muscling it.
Yeah.
So that's how I approach it. And then once I get them to do that, I do move to F sharp minor, where you would lift the ring finger, because most of the songs that people like, F sharp minor is a very popular bar chord. It's all the songs that you put a capo on 2 and have an E minor. That's the bar chord, right? So G, D, E minor, C, and there you go. So those type of songs in a key of A typically, or whatever, they usually work really well. So that's what I get them to do. And then once they can do that, I get them to strum, and then we add other chords. And so I think I'd approach it from an A to an F sharp minor, maybe a D to an F sharp minor, that kind of thing. And the key is every time you add a new chord change, you have to land it and be comfortable. You have to remember how comfortable it is. And that's why we keep going back to that E shape, because that shows us and tells us what it feels like and how it should feel like when we put the bar down.
I think with bar chords, typically, if you just sort of jump into it from the start and just try and form the shapes. I mean, if you haven't really played guitar before, it's quite new to you. We're used to picking up, a bat or a broomstick or whatever it might be, and so we're gripping on for dear life as we grab the fretboard. And of course, what happens is you end up pushing as hard with your thumb on the back of the neck as you are with your fingers in the front, and as a result, you're just squeezing the neck and you feel all this tension up the arm, which shouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
I often get students to form a bar chord. This would be when, this wouldn't be day one of bar chords, but when we're working with bar chords, to get them to kind of get the tension, if you like, or the pressure distribution, if you like, between the thumb and the fingers on the correct, I would get them to form that bar chord with no thumb on the back of the neck. So it's 100-0, basically. The thumb doing nothing, the hands are doing everything. And it doesn't, if you can sound it, great, but it doesn't matter if you can sound it or not. And when I'm sounding that there, I'm pushing quite hard because my thumb's not on the back of the neck. But I can come then and add my thumb and just take a little bit of the workload away from the fingers and support the fingers, the thumbs on the back to support the fingers at the front. And it just helps me, rather than just go bang, 50-50, both pushing as hard, it's 100-0, and then I can maybe get it to around that 80-20. That thumb is not really pushing into the back of the neck. It's slightly pushing in, but it's really just weighted down, and it's the friction of the thumb to the fretboard that stops it dropping away. It should be that if I come up and just hit your arm, that should just totally drop like a dead weight, because the only thing keeping it there is the thumb. You're not pushing in. If I keep my arm all tense, it's going to stay right here. It should be, once that's lost, it should just be a dead weight your arm. So it's a way to sort of focus and individualize or isolate the issue of the pressure. And I think around 80-20, 90-10, whatever it might be, but certainly not squeezing.
Learning to put the thumb inside the bar finger, not behind it, key.
Yeah.
When I learned that, made all the difference, because it automatically shifts your finger position forward. it automatically puts weight on it. But the secret to bar chords, people need to understand the secret to bar chords is not power, it's accuracy.
Yes. Yeah.
Period.
And
relaxed and accurate.
And the subtle, just subtle little movements make a difference. Just the slightest thing. Maybe it's just getting that index finger a little bit more up against the fret. It looks like I'm on top of the fret there, but I'm right behind it, which is the sweet spot. If I'm over here, I'm going to have a harder time sounding those notes. I didn't lessen the pressure there. I just moved the position of the finger and I'm in fret, but it's not sounding any good. And maybe it's just a slight up or down movement. Like you said, realizing where the thumb needs to be in relation to the fingers on the back of the fretboard. All these things make the difference. And then it's just regularly working with bar chords where you will develop the callus down the side of the index finger, which
that's the next secret.
All of a sudden, wow, it's easier. I don't have to push as hard. It doesn't feel like I have to push as hard. I can just, it's easier to do. So, and then, I've got electric guitar students who, man, I can't play bar chords on an acoustic guitar. It's so hard. And it's like, well, if you've tried it for 5 minutes and then gone back to your electric, it's going to be difficult. If you want to get good on the acoustic guitar with bar chords, just play a lot of acoustic guitar. Just do it regularly. It's really as simple as that. There's nothing different on the acoustic guitar versus electric in terms of strategies for chords, period, really. It's just get used to the tension of the strings and action and all that sort of stuff of acoustic guitar versus electric.
So what I do with other people on a lesser extent is I do get them when they first learn a chord, especially bar chords, but any chord, I try to get students to just not use any pressure at all. Because if you're not comfortable with no pressure, what's going to happen when we add pressure? This is one of the major mistakes people make is they start using the wrong muscles. They're in the wrong position. It's not a comfortable position. And then they just push hard to make it sound good. And then they just keep reinforcing this really bad habit. So that's what I do. And as a matter of fact, I get people to change chords, to change bar chords. I get people to even fingerpick without their left hand, whatever. And this works for both hands. So I get people to focus in on one hand without using the other, because as soon as you add another hand, more tension is automatically created. There's nothing you can do about it. So I isolate the hand and I get them to use no pressure. And then once they got it, I use something called chord push-ups. So once they're in the right position, it feels okay. I get them to push down, hold it for a second, let go. Push down, hold it, let go. And then maybe change to another chord. If it doesn't feel comfortable, just reset it, start over. So that's one thing I do that has been it works really well. For the people that actually apply this and actually use it, their chord changes and their playing become much better, much sooner.
And it's also just with one last thing on the tension thing is just being aware of tension in other parts of your body too. You might be not breathing regularly, holding your breath as you go and make that chord change, or curling your toes or clenching your jaw, or it's not always, it's not always directly in the muscles that are executing the skills, the technique. If you like this video, then you will love this ebook audio I've created for you called Awesome Acoustic Rhythm Techniques that will transform the way you play your guitar. In this ebook, I take you through one of the most common chord progressions in music. What's not so common are the approaches we will apply to this progression. You learn how to use embellishments and extensions to decorate the progressions you play, much like a pianist would, resulting in very cool, unique, and sophisticated sounding music. You also learn great ways to play rhythm fills that can punctuate the space between your chord changes. This is much like the rhythm guitar playing of Jimi Hendrix. So click the link in the description below this video and download your free ebook audio, Awesome Acoustic Rhythm Techniques that will transform the way you play your guitar. Let me know in the comments section any acoustic guitar topics you'd like to see me cover in future videos. Also let us know if you've got a particular way you like to go about learning bar chords, or indeed if you have any questions relating to bar chords. I read all the comments, I'll reply, I love to hear from you, so don't be shy. If you like this video, then hit that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the all-important notification bell button so YouTube can tell you when I've released a new video. This is Simon Candy from AcousticGuitarLessonsOnline.net. As always, Thank you for your time and attention. It's much appreciated, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.